Hey, this is a video for 8.14, Pollution and Human Health. So go ahead and check out the overview and set up your guided notes. So one thing that this video aims to address is the fact that we can't always pinpoint the health impacts from pollutants because there's usually a lot of different factors working together. We have, complex genes. We have, family history of certain illnesses. Our genetics lead to this. And also we have different sources. And then we have different pollutants that may be working together. So I'm going to talk about a few of them. First, we have dysentery. And dysentery is a disease that is caused or spread by inadequate sewage or inadequate sanitation. Now, if you ever played this game, the Oregon Trail, it was a computer game when I was a kid. But basically, it was, you set up you bought items, you went from Missouri, I think it was, and you went out to Oregon. And along the way, usually somebody died from dysentery. And this is because in the 1800s, sewage systems were not intact in the United States, and people spread diseases very readily from, drinking contaminated water, for example. So if you get dysentery, you often have bloody stool, and it can be, it can be fatal, but nowadays it is not very common in developed countries. It's more common in areas that have inadequate sanitation. Another one that's common in the United States is mesothelioma. In fact, it's so common that we have commercials. Commercials from a lot of these lawyers. You'll see commercials for mesothelioma because there's a lot of asbestos that was, put into buildings in the middle of the 20th century. And when they do construction or tear these buildings down, this asbestos can be released into the environment. It is particulate matter that is very small, gets embedded in the lung tissue, and it can lead to lung cancer. This image was taken, this is on India Street, and this building was being demolished in order to make way. Right now it's under construction for a high-rise that has geothermal energy in the building. And when they were tearing it down, the workers all had hazmat suits on, like the white Tyvek suits. And there was a sign that said, asbestos abatement. They're trying to remove the asbestos. It's less of a problem. It still is a problem if you're breathing it in larger quantities. But if it's out in the exposed air or in, outside, it is not as bad. You probably will be okay. However, if you're inside a building that has asbestos that is airborne, it's a huge problem, leading to mesothelioma. We can have a lot of respiratory disorders from different things. From burning our waste or any sort of incineration can release this particulate matter. Especially when you have when you're burning plastics, or if you have waste to incineration electricity generation. You can exacerbate or make asthma worse by these pollutants. Another thing is tropospheric ozone is a strong oxidant. It can damage your respiratory tissue and also damage the DNA in plants and other organisms. So one of the reasons it's very difficult to determine whether specific pollutants are harming our health is because of something known as synergism. The prefix SYN means together. So I'm going to show you an analogy first, and then we're going to talk about this. So synergism. Imagine you're moving one box. You're moving these boxes by yourself. It's going to take you a particular amount of time. You might get moving one box. You can only lift one box at a time. It's going to take you a little bit of time, and as you're moving all of the boxes, you might get a little bit tired, so you might slow down even more. But if you had two people, you're not going to get as exhausted easily, and you might be able to work much faster. Now, synergism just means that when you have two different toxins together, the impact of two of the toxins may be far worse than one of the toxins by themselves. So let me show you what that looks like. So we have a fish. We have chemical A and chemical B. Now, two of them together might be toxic for the fish, but one of them by themselves is okay. But when we put the two together, their impacts may be increased exponentially, causing organisms to die. Some examples of synergism. When you have asthma from air pollution and COVID-19, COVID-19 is bad, asthma is bad, but the two of them together could be potentially fatal. Lung damage from smoking and asbestos exposure. Lung damage from smoking is bad. Exposure to asbestos is bad. When you put the two of them together, your chances of developing lung cancer are far greater. Okay, what I would like you to do is respond to this check for understanding. And for FRQ practice, describe a water quality test that would provide evidence of a dysentery outbreak. I hope that this video is informative. I thank you for your attention, and I will see you soon.